The Great Debaters Contest is brought to you by Safaricom M-Pesa. The Great Debaters Contest 2016 registration is now open. Teachers or school administrations should register on www.greatdebaterscontest.com/register.
It's hot, but never too hot for debate. This is the Great Debaters Contest, Machakos edition, Austin Nyumbok.
And Mariam Bashar. Today we have Tala School going versus Mukaa boys on whether devolution is a hindrance to national integration. We'll let the debaters wow us now. First proposer, you have 3 minutes.
I'm Joseph Moya from Mukaa School, and I'm here to propose the motion. Devolution is a hindrance to national integration. First of all, what is devolution? The renowned professor Mwangi Kimenyi, senior fellow and a director, a great scholar of African Growth Initiative, defines devolution as a form of decentralization that involves transfer of power from the central government to govern at a subnational level, such as a region or state, and in our case, as a country, counties. The primary objective of decentralization is to devolve power, resources, and representation down to the local level. What is national integration? National integration is the awareness of a common identity among the citizens of a country in regard to citizenship, the togetherness and the oneness felt by citizens in regard to citizenship. What is a hindrance? Hindrance, the simple definition of hindrance is anything that provides resistance, delay, or obstruction to something, and in our case now, national integration. My first point. Devolution in actual effect undermines national unity. This is by encouraging ethnicity. For instance, in our country, Kenya, each county has a dominant community. For example, we have the Kamba in Machakos as the dominant community. We also have the Gikuyu in Kiambu as the dominant community. This seems to be creating small countries within a country. This has the potential to even create greater marginalization of minorities and even minorities within minorities. For instance, a Luo living in Machakos a Kamba would be preferred to a Luo living in Machakos for a job, regardless of whether the Kamba is qualified or not. By moving allocative decisions further away from the limelight, devolution risks permitting even greater levels of corruption and mismanagement of resources. This destroys legitimacy of political structures in the eyes of citizens and can contribute to instability and possible national disintegration because riots and civil unrest can escalate as a full social revolution to citizens demanding proper utilization of their resources. Thank you.
Opposition, you have 3 minutes to make your opening statements.
This is actually a very contemporary issue in our country. I would like to understand why our forefathers shed their blood in seeking freedom. Up to where I am right now, it is because as they did what they did, it was because they wanted to ensure that we could have an opportunity for their generations to be able to make their own destinies. And looking at devolution being a system whereby power is being decentralized from the central government and then it is being substituted authoritatively to the lower levels, then I think devolution is a very good way in which every other person in this country can be their issues can be well looked upon. On to my first point. The reason as to why we wanted devolution in the first place is because devolution would assist in eradicating marginalization. If you look at places like Turkana County and Baringo County, you hear of stories whereby a mother had to feed her child urine so that the child is not completely dehydrated. That is not the Kenya that I want. That is not the Kenya that I am sure you want. The Kenya that I would like to want, the Kenya that I would wake up to hear and listen, is the Kenya whereby our standards are so much well-equipped and we have people who are intellectually gifted, making sure that we are going forward towards the direction that is positive. That is to make sure that in this country, the development that we have so much wanted for so long has actually been articulated. On to my second point. Devolution ensures that the minor groups have been well represented. Talk of the women representatives in each and every county. Previously, we did not have these representatives. But right now that we have these representatives, there is no one who can state and say that the women in each county have not been represented. Why? This is because there are women representatives in each county, and therefore the issues that concern women are very much well encountered by these women representatives. Together with there are also the representatives for the disabled persons. You find that previously we did not have these representatives, but in the government right now, these people are very much well represented. If each and every person has his needs looked at and cared for, then that means we'll be speaking the one language, which is peace, love, and unity. And if there is peace, love, and unity within a certain people, then I can assure you that there is no way that country is going to fail in going forward. Thank you.
We'll hear rebuttals now. Proposers, you have 3 minutes.
First, I'd like to water down or rather oppose our opposers with two simple questions. How does development promote national integration? Please don't give us a hanging point. Second, how does devolution promote peace, love, and unity? To my first point, devolution has led to the competition of resources in the sense that some counties are more endowed with resources. Let's have Mombasa, for an example. It is well equipped with limestone. The county government of Mombasa will think that they should have control over the limestone for the development of their county rather than divide the income with another county. This will arise eyebrows. This will bring conflict. The surrounding or neighboring counties will demand to be addressed on the issue. Now tell me, if this is not national disintegration, then what is? For the past years, that is before 2010, the promulgation of the new constitution, the government was in charge of distributing resources to all corners of this country. But when the so-called devolution was brought in 2010, the government was deprived of this task. Consequently, some counties have been disadvantaged. Let's have an example. In Bungoma, wheelbarrows were allegedly bought, one at 109,000 each, while sources, Voice of Africa tells us that in Kiambu County, a county assembly member doesn't have an office. He meets his constituents at a market outside Nairobi. There is not good distribution of funds. This is all because of devolution. And I think we should all nod our heads in agreement to that national disintegration is brought to by devolution. Thank you.
Opposition will hear your rebuttal. You have 3 minutes as well.
I'm deeply angered, shocked, and disappointed by people who say that devolution is an hindrance to national integration. From the Tala High School, I'm Dennis Kishoi. To his question, he asks, how does development brings in national integration? I will answer you by my first point. Health services have improved. This is because county governments have put their best foot forward to make sure that health services have improved. A good example, we are in Machakos County. A good example is Machakos County. The governor has brought 55 ambulances to make sure that the health services have improved. And this, when you make the health services improved, increasing national integration. One time, my mother was sick of pneumonia. We called the ambulance and it arrived within the nick of time and saved his life. What about that mother who is heavy with a child? That mother who wants assistance of health and services? The ambulance which are provided by the governor could bring the assistance to the mother. That child could be the judge of the great debaters. That child could be the president. My point is this. When these small things are sorted out, people believe in the government. And when people believe in the government, it leads to national integration, improved standards of education. Devolution has led to every county is supposed to have a university. A good example is in Lodwar. Lodwar has now the Mount Kenya University. People go to attend the universities, therefore interacting with other people from other areas. Unlike when the people have to attend the university, which were mainly located in Nairobi. Now people have to attend universities even in the places which are hard-hit areas like Lodwar. This brings national integration as people interact together and learn culture from each other. If I'm a student of Tala High School, I get an A in my examination. Which university do I have to go? I'm called into the Mount Kenya University. I learn the culture of the people who are there. I interact with them. I get to know more about them. Isn't that national integration? That is why I'd like to ask you, all of you, to oppose this motion that says devolution is an hindrance to national integration. I rest my case.
The Great Debaters Contest 2016 registration is now open. Teachers or school administrations should register on www.greatdebaterscontest.com/register. The Great Debaters Contest 2016 registration is now open. Teachers or school administrations should register on www.greatdebaterscontest.com/register.
The proposition have been asked how the inflation of costs, for example, buying wheelbarrows at 109,000 shillings each, ties in with national integration. And the opposition have been asked to clarify on what small things they were talking about when they said that if such issues were sorted, we would have more or better national integration. We'll have them respond. Proposal number 3, you have 3 minutes.
From Mukaa School, I'm Gideon Kange. I'd like to answer the question that was asked. How does, for example, the example that was given, does the buying of a wheelbarrow at 109,000? Where did you get this? Where was the money gotten from? It was not as a loan, it was taxpayers' money. Don't you think, like, that's the loaf you buy for bread, the tax that was removed from there amounted to that 109,000 that was used to buy a wheelbarrow? This is a burden to the taxpayers, which brings me to my first point. Devolution has led to the many structures with many elected officials, which has resulted in an unstable wage bill. We have seen from an increase from 210 to 349 of ministers, which is rather unnecessary. This is a burden to taxpayers. Hiking of prices of commonly used commodities. There's a time that a loaf of bread was going for 25 shillings. Now it's hiking to 70. Why? The question is why? Are we to develop development or oppression? This is oppression. It doesn't need rocket science. How can wheelbarrow go for 109,000? Case closed. I move to my other point. Devolution has brought about supremacy wars, which has stalled a successful rollout. Tough wars have been erupted in many fronts, including the National Executive, having publicized differences with the Governor's Council. It is time without number we had that a county assembly member has hit another one with, let's say, a plastic chair. Many of you will ask, how does this promote national integration or national disintegration? If we have weak, fragile, and illegitimate people within our nation, there are those who are influenced by those in power. We witnessed this in the 2008 post-election violence. If leaders start fighting within themselves, the leaders that are expected to lead us, show us the way, what is expected of the common mwananchi? I'll give you an example. Let's take an example of a simple family. We have the father and the mother, and we have the children. If the parents start fighting, what do the children do? Is it bringing them closer or apart? You'll find that there's a child who supports the mother and the child who supports the father. So, if leaders have conflicts within them and they don't know how to resolve them amicably, will the citizens be able to resolve their conflicts amicably? And I'd like to give you food for thought. I want you to listen carefully. Yes, thank you.
Opposition, you have 3 minutes to respond.
I'm Iano Yugi from Tala High School. I'd like to respond to the questions posed. The first question. If the first question that was asked, the person asked, did the ambulance treat the person? I'd like to answer you like this. The ambulance came with medical personnel. The medical personnel was supposed to offer first aid to the patient until he gets to the hospital. When these small things are sorted, will it lead to developments? These small things, as you are referring them to, devolution is not a small thing. Devolution, it helps to eradicate these issues like tribalism and nepotism. So devolution is not a small thing. Please respect that. On to my points. It has brought the central government, devolution has brought the central government closer to the people. You'll find that, like in Machakos County, people, the county government and the local government have worked together to bring offices closer to the town. So when you have a grievance or a problem with how things are run, you can visit the local offices and you can get assistance. To my second point, sporting activities. The county government have been organizing sporting activities which brings people together from different places. For example, the Nax Vegas, most of you know it. It is in Nakuru. And the Nax Vegas is an event for the rugby players. So when you go to Nax Vegas, you'll get to interact with different people. There'll be women, there'll be men, handsome, beautiful. You can also get a soul partner. Thank you.
Okay, we'll hear closing statements now. Proposers, you have a minute.
I'd like to pose a question to our opponent team. We've defined devolution is the decentralization of power and representation, not amenities. The ambulances were still there. They've only increased. The universities were still there. The system of admitting students to universities was still the same. Thank you. As I finish, I want to say this. We all know that you cannot have 100% of support in the government. There are those who support the government, and in our case in Kenya, the opposition. We have seen that the government and the opposition are, towards the election, there's the friction which is brought about by those who run to where they have their support so that they can maintain their support. We have seen counties that are being favored in development, while others are being neglected. I'll give an example. We've seen our leaders rushing to Mombasa. Why haven't they rushed to Wajir and Garissa? How do you think the people from Wajir will think? This has led to where you find that the citizens of Wajir and Garissa have been incorporated to other neighboring countries to harm us. Let me give an example. We've seen that they are members of the militia. I'll give an example of the Al-Shabaab. Some of them are even from inside here, Kenya. So, does devolution still bring national integration or disintegration in everyone, not only specific counties? Thank you.
Opposition, you have a minute as well.
It has been said that devolution is not in any way enhancing national integration. I would like to valiantly oppose that which is being stated. My learned delegate here said that previously the ambulances were there. What has just happened is just that they have been increased. Well, if it so happens that there are 100 women who are heavy with child and need to deliver that child immediately, and we have 100 ambulances, then it means that all the children, all the babies that are supposed to be delivered at that particular time, that process will be able to be achieved. But if you have 100 women who are heavy with child, and there are only 3 ambulances, where do we go? Who do we leave? Who do we save? Who do we leave to die? The problems that have been stated here are only teething problems. Being a country and being a nation, they are only teething. This is because this is a new strategy that we have adopted. And I am sure with time, we'll be able to properly incorporate it so that this country, after attaining national integration, can be able to go forward in the positive direction. As Obama says, yes, we can. And indeed, yes, we can.
Mukaa boys. Joseph, I think when you came to the stage, you took long. In fact, you took 1 minute, 50 seconds defining the motion and the terms. You see, that is not good for you as a debater. Gideon, your cross-examination, yes, you threw in 2 questions, so it felt like it was questions from the audience. We want you to refute their arguments by possibly even suggesting that, listen, this is what is right at times, okay? You just don't want to leave questions hanging that nobody else can answer. Gideon Kange, let's admit it, how you answered that question really didn't link to the national integration, okay? So it wasn't fairly well answered. I don't know, you're a good speaker. I mean, you come and you command, and especially the 3 of you, whenever you come to the stage, you're very confident, very good speakers, and all you need to do is now relate all the content that you give us and the matters that you give us to the motion. Is that okay?
Tala High School, treat us to a dessert of what you consider to be a hindrance to national integration other than devolution. And maybe you could tell us, for example, ethnicity is a problem in this country, and therefore devolution is not really the problem, but ethnicity is the problem. Maybe treat us to other factors you consider to be hindering national integration. That could have been a way that you could have, approach you could have given, and possibly it could have been interesting.
The results are as follows. Mukaa boys, you have 63%. Please give them a round of applause. And with just a 1-point difference, Tala High School, you have 64%.
Congratulations to the 2 teams for a spirited debate. We thank our audience for participating. We also thank you, the viewer back home, urging you to follow us on social media at Great Debaters EA. I am Austin Yumbok.
And I am Mariam Bishar. Thank you for watching.
The Great Debaters Contest 2016 registration is now open. Teachers or school administrations should register on www.greatdebaterscontest.com/register. Debaters Contest was brought to you by Safaricom M-Pesa.